Join us Monday mornings at 8:45 a.m. and Thursdays 6:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. See you then.
Hey, welcome to Awakenings Within, a half an hour early. I wonder why we're a half an hour early. Why are we early today? Why are we early today, Bob?
Let me think.
I'm not sure.
Wait.
I'm not positive.
I know for our followers that are outside of the Kansas City area, they probably are like, what is wrong with you people?
6 o'clock. It's rush hour.
Well, not only is it 6 o'clock, it's the fact that we're talking about something that they could care less about because we're Chiefs fans.
Woo! Go Chiefs! Go Chiefs!
Exactly. So
Hi,
you know, so this whole year's been screwy, right?
Yawn. Hi.
So,
Yawn. What?
Yeah.
Why
he doesn't like the Chiefs.
Larry?
He's like bored already with the Chiefs. But think about this: have you ever been to the games in the beginning of the year in September? Have you ever been to one?
Me, no.
Okay, it's stinking hot.
Is it? Oh, I would love that.
That's how weird this year is, right? Normally, when
that.
you go in September, it's still really hot. So everybody's at the Chiefs game in shorts and whatever, right? And it's great. It's 50 degrees. People are like going there.
50. I know. It's
cold and rainy, and you're like, wait a minute.
What happened? Like,
all year weird.
I want to know. Okay, so Monday, I'm at my pool and I'm laying out in the sun and I'm swimming in the pool. I mean, it was kind of cold, but it wasn't like crazy cold. And then, got a tan, whatever. And then I go to bed and I wake up and then I'm freezing to death. I'm like, this is not cool.
God, no, isn't that 2020 though?
Yeah.
That's 2020. It's been the whole year's been like this. Everything's like this.
Like, I don't know. 2020. It is going to be
everything's out of sync, right?
Oh my goodness. I mean, what else is there? Where's my red? I have red on. Well, I have. You can't tell. Okay, I'm just saying. Am I supposed to wear red?
I don't have to wear red. You just can wear.
Do I have to wear
have
red?
a Chiefs emblem. You should.
Okay, Chiefs fan.
You should have the black stuff under your eyes. You should have Chiefs decals on your cheeks. Come on.
I should have all of that. All of it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm a real fan this year. I'm a real fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm a real Chiefs fan.
What were you in the past?
Okay. Well, I'm an orphan because I'm from St. Louis. We're orphans.
That's true.
The Rams can't handle us. Whatever.
Yeah. But the problem is, even the Rams were sort of an adopted team for St. Louis because they were the Cardinals when I lived there, right? In the 1970s, it was the Cardinals with Jim Hart and Otis Anderson and Dan Deerdorf. Remember any of those names?
No, I don't have any clue.
It was before your time.
I know baseball. Ask about baseball.
It was the Cardinals, man.
It was the Cardinals and the Cardinals. That was easy to remember.
It was the Cardinals.
The football team was Cardinals. Exactly. The baseball team was Cardinals.
And then where did they go?
So, hi, is anybody joining us? Say hello. Say hello.
He doesn't care about football, maybe.
They don't care about football tonight. Well, it's Thursday.
Right.
Thursday evening.
So,
what are you usually doing on a Thursday?
Talking to you.
At 6:30 to 7:30. Well, what do you do with the rest of your day?
Oh, the rest of my day, I work, or I'm in the middle of doing consulting, or I'm talking to people in Zimbabwe,
Oh yeah, how's Zimbabwe?
Oh well, I mean it's not any better, but the South Africans have decided to step into the mess because there's so many Zimbabweans that have fled down there. That it's a problem for them. So they've sent a team up this last week and said, hey, let's try to sort some things out. So we'll see where that goes.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope.
The other thing, though, that is for me on a very personal note,
Mm-hmm.
I just learned yesterday that the U.S. Embassy has started to issue some visas
Oh,
for
good.
Zimbabweans to come to the United States. So
Awesome.
Abby is like all over that, like white on rice at the moment. So we're trying to see if that's a possibility, because if it is, we're doing that.
Oh, that's good.
Bring her over for a couple months. So
Aw, I bet
Yeah.
you miss her. And we're
So I'm
going to
trying
kind
to
of
keep
talk about
myself
that.
emotionally, on an even keel here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, finally on an even keel.
Well, I had to, because it's like you just never know with these things. Like
Right.
I'll let my emotions go if she gets approved.
Oh, right.
You
Right.
know?
Yeah. Okay. That's a great segue into what we're talking about today.
Okay, what are we
What
talking
we're going to
about?
talk about today. We are going to talk about feelings and about
Feeling.
emotions around grief and losses, kind of. Not just grief, not like mourning, like death grief.
Okay.
I think more about the losses of relationships, losses of different types.
Hmm.
And so I had a bumpy week. Let's see. What does Larry say? He does care about something. He cares about something.
It's
Oh,
early.
I'm not
We
used
woke
to being
him
on
up
with
from
you
his
guys. This
bear
really
nap.
was napping.
Yeah, we
Oh,
woke him
we're
up from his
sorry.
bear nap.
We woke Larry up for his nap. He Zooms all day. Sorry,
Take
we
a little
couldn't
break
do
before
napping
us.
time. But yeah, we're going to talk about grief and how to navigate that. See,
Are you grieving?
yes, in
Ooh.
a weird way. And I don't say in a weird way,
Say
but
more, please.
okay. So this week was a anniversary of mine. Okay. It was an anniversary of a ex-husband. And then
A marriage anniversary that had an ex-husband.
Right.
There you go.
It was right. And it was a weird one. And it's 2020.
The anniversary or the ex-husband?
It's 2020, huh?
The anniversary or the ex-husband were the weird one?
Both.
Oh,
anyway.
then that's plural. It was a weird one.
Yeah, but I mean, so this is the first time he sent me a happy anniversary text, and I was like, how to respond to that? Like
it shocked you?
Yeah, I was like, I don't think I like that, or well, that was okay. Like I was in the middle. Like I didn't quite know how to navigate the feelings around that, because honestly, probably in the last couple of years, relationship wise, I kind of turned my feelings off, because I'm able to do that. I know it's not normal for women usually, but I'm one of those weird women that can just turn the emotions off. So, and I learned that pretty young. And the reason why is because we moved a lot. So because I moved 12 times, I was able to say goodbye to people and not be upset. Like I got used to saying goodbye to people. So when you get used to saying goodbye to people, it just, you're like, well, I put a positive spin on it always. I'm like, I'll see him again. I never said, oh, I'm never going to see them again, but what compounded this emotions is that my son is leaving today to move to Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
And so on the heel,
you're losing this week.
Right. And then tomorrow is what? September 11th.
Uh-huh.
And I always think about that because I had friends that lost people in that. And that was a pretty traumatic, time, for all of us, as a country. So those are like boom, boom, boom. And I was like, oh, so Sandy's going to have to deal with her stuff. Like Sandy needs to deal with her grief and her loss. Instead of pushing it away, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to just deal with it. So I have to admit, I cried for the first time yesterday, like full out.
And it was that
ugly cry, like the tears.
Was it a cumulative cry?
Yeah.
It was a
And it,
cumulative cry, meaning that it had been building
yes.
and then it suddenly hit critical
Yes.
mass, and it was like, okay, can't
Yeah.
hold this back anymore.
That's right.
Let it go.
That's right.
So it was a cumulative cry, meaning you were crying for more than one thing. It was like a bunch of.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It was, and then this morning.
Did it feel good though afterwards?
It didn't end there. This
Oh,
morning,
so
I
it was
had
a rolling tide of
had a
crying.
little not a disagreement, but it had a little bit of conflict at my workplace.
Okay.
And it happened again. I was like, oh crap. Now it's like a volcano. Like, what happened here? Like, I don't cry for 2 years, and now I'm like this freaking
right.
wet, face,
Right.
and in front of not appropriate. Like to me, that was totally not appropriate.
Yeah.
Like, I would never cry in my workplace ever, So it brought me to, whoa, Sandy, you just compounded things like on top of each other.
Right.
And so stacked them, like you were saying, just all together, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, so what have you done when that's happened before?
Well, let's explain. Let's
Well, right.
dissect a little
One
bit.
side I already know, but I'm asking you.
No, but let's dissect this, because I'm actually in another situation actually a couple situations with people I'm working with who are also having these moments suddenly where like their emotions and their crying seem disproportionate to the thing that happened. And it's like,
Right.
what the heck's going on? So
Yes.
So one of the things that I talk about with people is I use the analogy of a closet. Our soul is like a closet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when we come into or experience situations that we either don't know how to process, right? Or we don't know what to do with the emotions. Like we don't even know what to think about this, or we don't even know how to feel about it. So what do we do with those things?
Well, yeah, because it could be subconsciously. I don't even know I was dealing with it. Didn't
Right.
you know?
Well, but you do. We all do. But here's what happens: is we don't know what to do. So we do one of two things. We either take all those things and put them in a box and tie a little string around them, or we put it in a trunk and wrap a chain around it, depending on the level of intensity, right?
That sounds like I did something criminal. I don't know.
We put a chain around, right? Then what do?
It sounds like criminal stuff. I don't know.
No, we put it in our closet, right? We put it in our soul. So we take those things and we put them in our soul. But what people don't really grasp about the soul realm is that it's not all that different in some ways from the physical realm, meaning that your soul has capacity. It only has so much capacity. It's not this infinite, endless space, right? It feels like it because we can't.
It feels like it, right?
We can't define it.
I think mine looks like the cosmos
inside of us. I don't, right? But the truth of it is you have limited capacity, right? So you keep putting boxes and trunks in your closet, but then as it starts getting full of capacity, what happens when you open a closet and it's got too much stuff in it, right? You're trying to put another box in there, and what falls out?
What have you seen my closet?
But I mean, that's what happens, right?
Shoes falls out. I don't know.
Put another unresolved situation or
shoes,
right? And you stuff it. You're trying to stuff it in there, and the past ones are falling out, right?
Yeah.
See, in the beginning, they don't fall out, right? Because there's plenty of room. But then as you start reaching capacity, they'll start falling out again, right? And so now you're in there trying to stuff everything back in there and add the new one, right? But then what happens is that, and I try to explain this to people, is so there's two things that go on. One is capacity. Second is age. As we get older, we don't have the same capacity physically as we did when we were younger. So suddenly we can't keep the door. We can't shut the door. And we break. and you have what you had this week. You just have, it's like your soul just went on overload and went, I can't contain this anymore.
See, now you're making me visualize that all my shoes falling out in my face. That
Right.
I actually had a cowboy boot hit me in the head the other day.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
I can see the
what happens to your
visualization.
soul, which is, and just so you know, it's perfectly normal. Like people get all freaked out, right?
yeah.
Like, oh my God, I'm having a breakdown. Yeah, we all do. That's what happens. It's basically the same sensation. You know, it's like I was saying to somebody the other day, you have a bucket, right?
Yes.
You fill it with water. What happens when it gets to the top? Where does it go?
Yeah.
Over the sides and everywhere, right?
Exactly.
That's exactly
Yeah,
what
that
happens
was,
with our
that was the
emotions.
tears. The tears did that today. The
Right.
tears.
And they go everywhere and it's messy. And guess what?
It was messy.
Normal.
I know. So
healthy.
me being who I am, who wants everything to be positive and you know, I want to fix and
Well,
do.
yeah, you keep wanting to put bows and wrapping paper on your boxes.
Yeah, well, yeah, my closet is kind of a mess right now. So,
Well,
I was going,
so
did you
was
see
your
my
soul
closet?
closet this week.
So yeah, I mean, I felt a loss. Like my son moving feels like a loss to me, even though I know I'll see him, even though I know that I
Let's
used to
go back.
leave.
Yeah, the sun's one thing, but it's the unresolvedness of your ended relationship. In other words, you didn't actually. The reason it triggered something is you don't have closure.
Let it flow. Oh, but I do.
No, you don't.
But I do.
No, you have. You might mentally, but the way you reacted, not knowing what to do,
Yes.
means you're still. In other words, you don't have closure. Meaning it's not all defined yet. It's still murky, right?
Well, it's only murky because I have to have an association. Yeah.
No, but it's I don't know what to do with this. I don't know how I feel. You said it. I don't know how to feel about this.
Yes. So look at Dr. B is getting you. Look who has it.
Dr. B. I know. We have to feel sorry for Dr. B.
Okay.
Yeah. So Dr. B is like got this new job and he did really awesome. Except for he was so awesome, they're making him work tonight.
Oh no!
He was like hands down, like.
Oh no!
So that's what happens when you're too talented.
That is what happens.
We're sending out love to Dr. B tonight.
Sending you love.
Because he's so brilliant, ended up being the guy that they took from 0 to 50 so fast.
Oh wow!
He's that guy like, oh, it's the rookie, and then suddenly he's like, oh my God, I got to carry the team.
Right. That happens.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen tonight.
The
Chiefs are going to win it tonight. Well, thank you for going. I mean, we went. We're going from one. Yeah, I feel like we're rabbiting tonight, or squirrel.
Well, let's get back to this. So basically, what ended up happening to you is because you don't really have. It's still not clear in your brain, in your mind, where the boundaries are and everything, because you don't actually have total closure yet. It threw you because it like, wait a minute, did this cross a boundary? Wait a minute, I don't even have a boundary. I don't even know if this is a boundary or not a boundary, right? You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying closure. It wasn't defined.
Yeah.
And so you don't really know how to respond.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was like, should I just? And then I was like, hey, okay, I'm cool with it. Like, I'm cool. Like it's no biggie. But actually, it must have been a biggie. It must have been more of a biggie than I recognized. Hi, Lance.
The end of marriages are really confusing, right? Because the end of a marriage started with you being madly in love with this person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, wait a minute here.
Maybe.
It's like, what?
Possibly,
unless you married him for his money.
No,
but I'm just saying you think you're right?
It's a complicated story. So we won't get into any of that.
We won't dissect too much.
Get any of that.
But I'm just saying that's why people don't really know what to do with it all. And here's why. So let me give you another sort of perspective piece.
Right, because you're you've been divorced and married.
Right.
Okay.
But here's the confusion. And
Mhm.
and sometimes religion doesn't help in this. Institutional religion doesn't help in this.
No, it didn't.
We're taught
No, it didn't.
life is lived between extremes, right? Light, dark, good, evil, all this kind of stuff, right? And so we see everything in the extreme, right? And then these extremes are actually opposing each other, right?
Yeah.
Good is fighting evil, light is fighting, right? So we boom, 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 right? And
Right.
so the two things can't be in the same space, right? It's either one or the other. Right. And we're so wired to think like that. That's where we get in trouble relationally, because if I'm right, that makes you, and you don't agree with me, you're
wrong.
Exactly. And that's not true. Right.
No, it's not.
So my whole point where I'm going with this is that when you've been through a marriage relationship and you've been with somebody for a long time, it's both good and bad.
That's right.
Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. No. They both happened. Right. Right. But what happens is because it ends up in a divorce, then, and this is always interesting, is that we tend to view the past through the present. Right. So whatever space you're in now, impacts how we see that. Right.
Well, that's funny that you say that, because I have this book right here.
Oh, when the past is present. Yes.
When the past is present. And this is a great book for anybody: Healing the Emotional Wounds That Sabotage Your Relationships. So because you bring baggage, you tend to bring baggage
right
if you don't resolve it. So hence.
So it gets confusing, right? Because here's the reality of it: is you were with somebody, 17 years. There were lots of really good things that happened. They didn't suddenly become bad. No, but I'm just saying they didn't suddenly become bad because you got divorced, right?
Who else did I meet? I met Alice Cooper. I met, it was kind of cool.
But did they suddenly become bad because you got divorced?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Right. So, but this is what always happens is because of that, when we look back, then we want to erase all that, right?
Me getting marriage counseling.
No. So I'm just trying to get you to understand that it's okay. Like, you can celebrate the good with your ex. That's okay, because it was good.
Well, this is my problem, is because I see myself as a strong tower.
Yes.
Right. So I see myself as a strong tower. And so for
with
me,
a marshmallow of a heart,
I'm not your typical girl, woman, whatever. I have more of an alpha male thing.
Okay.
That, like, I've got to be strong, don't know where I learned it. Couldn't tell you, but I've got to be strong. I've got to be strong in all situations. And, when I feel a little bit of that tower, the enemy's coming at it and I'm losing footing, I don't let that happen. So so for me, being vulnerable, even like right now, talking about it is huge, because I don't let myself do that. I just think that I can take it, like she can take it. However, I know better, because I do have a faith. And of course, Psalm 35 comes to mind, David, when he wrote this: weeping may last for the night, but a shout of joy comes in the morning. So even he had to deal with that, right? So he had to go through his trials of all of that. I'm not really sure if, that in Acts 13:22, and it talks about David, crying out to the Lord. So it's kind of like, that's what I have to do. That's where I have, I know that it's in the Bible all over the place. Okay. So I know that all the prophets, anybody cried at one point. I mean, think about, Peter, what happened with him even, Sandy, am I a Virgo? Oh, no, I'm not a Virgo. Yeah, I'm setting my ways.
Yeah,
well,
but the reason behind that, if I was going to play Dr. Bob.
Dr. Bob,
I
Dr.
would say
Bobby.
there's probably the fact that you moved around a lot is what caused that to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Because what happens is when
Mhm.
you're moving around like that, you realize I'm all by myself. I
Yeah.
have to survive on my own. I don't have a
Isolated.
social infrastructure that's long term that's got my back. I'm in this all by myself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you kind of
Even though we have
develop
people.
a measure of independence, but that's survival, right? We those are survival instincts. So when you're in a situation like that, your survival instincts take over, and you go, "Wait a minute, I'm self-sufficient. I can deal with this myself. I can do it." Right?
Yep.
Except for there's the problem is as you get older, that's not true.
Well, and to Lance's question, I'm actually a Taurus the bull, so that could be part of it.
I'm wearing red. Are you
I'm
going
a
to come
Taurus.
after me?
Us Tauruses, we're kind of bossy and bully. I don't know. I really wasn't. I really am not. Oh, there's Heather. Let's go Chiefs.
So,
Go
so
Chiefs.
can we call the guy up that sent you the nice thing on your anniversary? And that's Kim.
How nice I am.
She a bull?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you'll have the scars to show us.
I live up to it.
Okay.
But at the same time, I mean, it just kind of, I've dealt with this pandemic. I've dealt with all of these things fine. And I'm not an anxiety person. So I think my style of handling stress, I'd actually, I was talking to my dad about this yesterday, is I get fatigued. Like when I take on stress, cause your body absorbs it, my body took on stress and I was fatigued. I mean, I was exhausted feeling, but I'm not really exhausted. I mean, it's really just, that my body was absorbing that stress that I was feeling. I know that everybody deals with things differently, and that's why I'm being vulnerable, because it's like I crashed, I hit the wall.
Right. Well, you know what a midlife crisis really is? The midlife crisis is that's where you hit the wall physically and you no longer have the strength to close the door on your closet.
Yeah.
That's all that's happening.
Yeah.
Right. And so everybody's always shocked because it's like, oh my God, I didn't know they were like that.
Yeah.
Right. Because people do great. Right. And it's because for years they've stuffed all these things in their closet and you just get to a point and you're like, I'm just too tired. Right. So that's one of the great things about getting older is that you tend to become more authentic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
When you're younger, you live in a world of facades and pretend and hiding a lot of things in your closet, and then you have a breakdown, and then you have a few more, and then pretty soon it's like, it's too exhausting. One of my favorite stories is my 80-year-old auntie who told me that the greatest thing about turning 80 was she could wear her bathrobe and slippers to the grocery store and no one would care because she's just old. She goes, being 80 is the most liberating age. She goes, you literally can be so yourself and nobody cares because you're just old. You get a pass on everything.
I know. I can't wait. I'm going to put my hair in a bun. Okay. I've already got the visual. A hair in the bun. I'm going to have a garden at the end of some street with the weird little ornaments, the yard ornaments all outside.
Okay.
And
little gnomes. Gnomes
and chimes
and fairies, because I see like fairies back there. Yeah, little fairies.
And I'm gonna have my hair up in the little hat or whatever, and then I'm gonna grow tomatoes and cucumbers or something like that.
That sounds good.
That's the old lady.
I always love these old ladies that like they interview them and they're like 100 and they go, well, how come you lasted so long? And they go, oh, it was the nightly schnapps.
Exactly. They talk
brandy. That was my sip of brandy every night.
They do. It's so funny. They talk about bourbon and they talk about smoking cigarettes.
Say my cigars. How's the old guys? Yeah, I have a cigar. I love those cigars. I don't see that going in any medical journal on old age.
Christina did have a good point. Make sure you get good sleep.
Well, that's exactly it, because you get exhausted,
Yeah. I mean,
it's hard.
Yeah. Empty the closet.
Yeah.
That's what Larry says. Empty the closet. Well, then I won't have any shoes.
You might need less. Jenny, I got a great book for you. It's by my friend Richard Foster, and it's called The Freedom of Simplicity.
The freedom of simplicity.
Exactly.
Hey,
Keeping life simple.
I really do, you know, and here's my problem is I could go book
You
reading.
have a problem?
I love book. I have a book problem.
Oh,
So-
book problem. So you have a shoe problem and a book problem.
Yeah, my books. I love books. So I have this one, Resilience.
Okay.
Yes, and this was a great book. Though I got scrutiny because of who the author was, which I didn't have a clue on his story, but it was a good book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, you can't. I mean, it's a great book. It's about keep going. You know, and see that's where I'm at. It's like I'm one of those where okay, I'm being authentic. I hit the wall, but okay, now, okay, it's time to go. Like I'm not gonna stay there. But I do need to handle it. You know, you do need to deal with your emotions, because if you suppress them or oppress them, then it's going to become a volcano again at some other you know, and in inopportune time, like you were talking about, where your reaction to something does not match, you know, what had happened. So,
well, again, you know, I'm like Toto on The Wizard of Oz. I tend to get behind things, and it's interesting because when you go study the strictest, most emotionally stunted cultures, or you get into the world of religion where there's hyper holiness, right?
Hyper holiness.
You get the craziest manifestations of people doing the wildest things.
Yeah.
You get the exact opposite reaction. And the reason is people just can't do that. They cannot suppress their emotions. They can't, you know what I mean? And so what happens is just, I mean, you know, I don't want to get into all kinds of craziness, but I mean, we just had a big scandal at a major Christian university that, and people are like horrified, you know what I mean? Because, and I'm like going, oh my God, it's been my life for 40 years. This is normal. This is what happens in situations where you have people that live in these situations. And what ends up happening is you get on overload. It's too much.
Right.
And so there's all kinds of unhealthy behavior that ends up happening by whatever. So there's a reason why God gave us emotions, and my word picture for that, it's the little valve on top of the pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that they're there to let the steam off.
Yes.
Whether if it's cultures or institutions that try to modify your behavior and tell you not to feel, and then whatever, you can't do it. And what ends up happening, and where my whole life is spent, is picking up pieces of pressure cookers that blew up.
Oh gosh.
Right. And the food went everywhere in the kitchen, and it's a mess.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Ken. Hi, Ken. Thanks for stopping by.
Exactly. So that's why it's good. You know, what you did this week was healthy.
I mean, I hit the wall. I just went, okay.
God made you that way.
And I went, what? I mean, these two things, I mean, I think my son moving obviously is huge to me, because, you know, though he's only moving 6 hours away. So I'm like that, those people, you know, that all their kids were going off to college and all of that happened. Well, you know, I had that comfort zone of him, you know, being here present, and it kind of, it just shifted my whole focus of, you know, and then, you know, it triggered other events.
The clients that I've had over the years, the trigger is I don't know who I am now. I'm not a mom. Yeah. Like this has been my identity for 20, 30 years, and they're gone. I'm not a mom. I go, who made that rule?
Right.
Well, I'm not a mom. I go, who made that rule? I go, the minute they came out of you, you became a mom. There's no reverse gear. You know what I mean? You never cease to be a mom. Yeah. I'm 63 years old and my mom's 94 and she still moms me.
That's right.
And I tell my sons
He's-
that who get irritated at their mom because she
He's
moms them.
29. He's 29 and he's going off to, he's in love and he's,
Right.
going to start his life. And I really hope he does. So I'm happy for him. But at the same time, I'm like, but it kind of just, it took me back to, what we were talking about.
Did you feel like you were losing a sense of yourself? Like this is.
No, I mean,
What did you feel?
He hasn't lived near me, we've been away from each other for years. So
Right.
that wasn't it. I think it was like a projection and a reflection of
Mhm.
all the times that I moved and,
Mhm.
and I really my mother, she's passed, she's not here anymore. And so it even brought that up. It's like it was like being on the monkey bars. And I went from one rung to the next.
So it started
next.
cascading on
I
you.
was like, I'm going
All
through
your
it.
losses.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right.
I walked through the loss valley,
Mhm.
and it just,
But again, it's just so people understand, there's nothing wrong with that because
no,
these
why I'm
losses that you go through, they're etched on your soul. I know mothers who have lost children young, and they come back and go, well, that was 20 years ago, and I still hurt. I go,
yes,
it doesn't go away. You know what I mean? Loss doesn't go away.
no, it doesn't. Yes,
If
Ken,
you
I did
manage it, right? You can't erase the feeling.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, Ken has good advice for him. Yeah, go running off with
Who's him?
Ken Walls.
Oh,
You have to watch the show.
Him that
Yeah,
all
Ken-
problems begin
Ken.
with.
Yeah, no, Ken has a great show, and I watch him every day.
Right.
Larry watches him every day. I watch him every day. So thanks for joining us, Ken. But yeah, the first problem is him running off with the woman. His girlfriend.
Are we talking? Who are we talking about here? You
my
guys
son
just
now. My
okay.
son. So my son and his girlfriend were born on the same day. So they have the same
Ooh.
birthday. Yeah.
Ooh.
And they're the same. They are very much alike. It's really kind of spooky.
Mhm.
And they're 1 year apart. I mean, they're not the same age, but they're just so similar. So I just wonder how that's going to work out for them,
Doug, what's your relationship with her?
Oh, she's a doll. Love her
I know.
already. But see, the problem is I've had all boys and no girls.
Uh-huh.
So whenever they get a girlfriend, they're like, "Oh, mom's going to get attached to him. Be careful that if they're going to introduce him to me, because I'm the nice one. Like I'm the one that just wants." Yes, I'll tell him, Ken. But I'm the one that will, fall in love with the girlfriend because I've never had a girl.
Got it. Okay.
Like, oh, she's so sweet.
So these daughter-in-laws are going to get adopted, not just wed. They're going to be adopted.
They're going to be
right?
adopted.
So they're going to become surrogate daughters.
Until they hurt my son.
Oh, then Mama Bear comes out.
Until they cross my son. If they do something bad to him.
So, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Boundaries, Mama Bear.
Boundaries. Exactly.
What's not good for my son? That's a little fuzzy. That's a little bit more a perspective than it is a fact.
That's right. I mean, I like
a lot of clashes, female over that issue.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know what's better for him. I birthed him. You don't know. You just met him.
Don't know. That's right. I mean, because I'll be like, oh yeah, my son's so wonderful, and oh yeah, I like her so much. But watch it.
Mm-hmm. All right, daughter-in-law, if you're listening, you have been forewarned. The gauntlet has been thrown down.
You're always just going to love your son.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that the hard way with a mother-in-law that I had.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she loved me until I was breaking up with her son. Yeah. And then that didn't work out so well. I learned it.
All that age, right? Blood is thicker than.
Yes.
I know.
So
her son could be a criminal, right?
Right.
And Sad Quentin, and he's still a better person than you are.
That's right. So thanks for joining, Ken. Appreciate it. So yeah. So he does a great coaching, a go live coaching group. So
that's good.
So I'm in two live streaming things.
Mhm.
It's a cool thing. So anyway,
So you were mourning. You've mourned a couple things. Then you started mourning things that you thought you already mourned.
Oh yeah,
I know.
it
So
just
it was bringing
totally was
stuff
a
back up.
chain
So lots of stuff was
reaction.
falling out of your closet today.
It was a chain reaction. I was like, and then this morning, you know, at work, you don't do that at work. I mean, no. And then it was just like faucet.
Well, but it's like I said,
wow.
if you're standing in your closet and all the boxes are falling out and they're coming off top, you know, I mean, then there's this moment you go, oh my God, it's just everything's out of control. I can't, you know, whatever. And then
I did the slam the door thing too.
Okay.
I did a slam the door. I did the, you know how you twist around on your heel.
Oh yeah.
I did the whole thing.
And then you got to work and the door opened again.
And I ate Dairy Queen last night for dinner.
Woo. See?
I mean, I did the whole thing.
You are acting out, right? They said I tell people all the time ago, it's like when you reach that saturation point and your bucket's overflowing, well, you don't know where the water's going and it gets messy. It goes everywhere. So all your base natures, right? It's like you just go, I don't care. Give me those fries.
Yes.
Yes. Like, I don't care.
You know I don't care. I've been on a diet. I'm eating Dairy Queen.
And eat that salad. I'm taking this.
Right. So what I'm hoping is that going forward now, you know, I dealt with the grief. I dealt with the loss. Yeah.
So you processed. Yeah. How did you? So now that's the next question in our little journey tonight. How did you deal with it?
Well, I pulled out my little handy dandy Bible.
Okay, your electronic Bible.
Different things, and of course, that scripture that came to mind was "Weeping may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning."
Okay.
So I brought that out, and I read a little bit in that, and then I brought out my resources. So that's the thing. I called on my resources. I'm telling you about it tonight. That's a resource to me. Like you're helping me right now. And you know, I'm reading a book that I knew would help me that I already had and just trying to go, okay, what is tripping me up? What is it really? Diving down into what it really is. You know, what are these triggers? And it could just be a purge of things that I've suppressed and, you know, over and over. I didn't, like you said, fully have closure and deal with. So that's where I go. I go to my resources. I go to people. I go to my Bible. I go to whatever books it is that I have that is my resource. And tonight, after the Chiefs win, after they win, I'm going to go over to a friend's house and watch the Chiefs game and have a good time, you know, with my friends. And then tonight when I go to bed, I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray about it. And I'm going to ask for peace over, you know, whatever it is, whatever comes up, you know, and ask for God to reveal those places that I need to have more healing, possibly, not possibly, do.
But it's good. See, I think, you know, one of the things that I always encourage people is you got to have an inner core of 2 or 3 people that you can talk these things through because again, when we're looking at these things, we have a perspective. And usually these things have perspectives in the plural, and you don't always see the other ones. So sometimes by bringing a few trusted friends in and processing the experience, they go, hey, have you considered this? Oh, maybe this is right. And so you kind of, so one thing is you look at it 360 degrees, you get, you know what I mean? You look around. The other thing too is you don't see the thing that I always feel bad about is people think because they're going through it, something's wrong with them. You know what I mean? It's like, and they feel shame, right? I feel
Right.
ashamed that I cried. I feel shame that I got over. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why do you feel
No, I
any
don't
shame?
feel. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but
And
I'm just
see,
saying that's the
yeah,
normal reaction for most
it
people.
is.
They're ashamed of their emotions. And I'm going,
Right.
no. That means you're healthy. Like,
Right.
that's actually a good sign,
Yes.
right? People that
Yes.
don't, you know where they are? They're
Yeah.
in prison. They're
Yeah.
what we call mass murderers. They have no conscience. They
They're
feel
sociopaths.
no
Yeah.
pain.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They don't
The
have
fact
it.
that you're
Right.
feeling emotions
Right.
and you're crying. This is good.
Right.
Welcome to the
And-
human race.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no shame in
There's no shame.
No. It's an
And
opportunity
I've
to
heard
just
about that a lot this week. I've read about that a lot this week about shame. Shame is I mean, it just sabotages all your relationships.
well, think about where do we see the
self-sabotage.
first instance of shame?
Cain and Abel.
No. Adam and Eve,
Well, Adam and Eve.
right? And what did they do? When
I-
God showed up, what did they ran.
It was, you're right. And then they
See,
generationally.
shame always moves us
their
away,
children.
right?
Yes. And then they gave it to their children.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that's-
so it got passed down. And so that's how you can always tell
Mhm.
shame when you're dealing with it. Cause I always tell people, it's like run, Forrest, the movie. it's like when you feel that fear inside, that thing in your soul that comes up, run, Forrest. Like,
Yeah,
get
yeah.
the hell out of here.
Yeah.
That's shame.
Yeah.
Love embraces, right? Love moves us towards one another. Shame drives us away from one another.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And I mean, I did
But
that
it drives us away from God too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm really glad that you moved toward him. That's healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I generally never would tell anybody I cried.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that, I mean, I know that unfortunately, our society says, oh, women are criers, men are not. Like that was like the rule for, I don't know how long. But what's funny in my case is that I wasn't. And so I felt like something was wrong with me because of that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't cry, because I didn't deal with things that way. I smile, I think I started smiling, probably before I was born. And so when I dealt with things, I just like kind of smiled and went, okay, I can see the positive.
Sometimes in trauma, that's exactly what happens. It's the deer in the headlights. It's like, I don't even know what to do with this.
Yeah.
So you don't have any reaction. Like you're just kind of numb.
Yeah.
So that again, it's to not have an emotion isn't
right.
bad. You're not bad. You're not defective.
Right.
So that, that's another God-given. I mean, shock is another God-given gift to humanity, because if we didn't have shock, it'd be like sending 220 through 110. It would fry our brains, right?
Yes,
so
right.
shock is that little circuit breaker, what I mean, on our system that just goes think, and then suddenly we're just like, don't feel anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was there. I remember when I got the news that my friends all got killed in Zimbabwe. I went into shock. Like I was literally remember feeling like I was in a bubble. Like I couldn't hear anyone. Like I saw their lips moving. I didn't hear a word they were saying. It was like I was in this bubble and life was moving around me, and I was in there and I didn't feel anything.
Wow.
I had zero reaction. I was in total shock. And the reason is that it was that the circuit breaker blew on my soul, right? And so I was in that space. It all came later.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Cascading.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I didn't feel anything.
Wow. I'm so sorry. When was that?
That was in 1987.
1987.
And to add dynamism to the story, it was Thanksgiving.
Oh gosh.
Our whole family was there, sitting there, kids, everything. It was the most festive family day of the year. And I get the news as I just sat down to eat Thanksgiving dinner. I just, you talk about a collision of worlds.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's all these things that we feel shame over. And I try to get people to understand, don't feel ashamed because you reacted like that. These are all God-given things.
Yeah. I mean, you have to feel them. Actually, Crystal, who was on here earlier, the first time she ever met me, she said she surveyed, you know, she had good discernment, you know, and she was like, so are you going to deal with your negative stuff?
I don't have any negative stuff.
She didn't even know. She didn't even know me, and she knew that I wasn't dealing with my negative stuff. Like if you don't deal with those things equally, you're not going to be balanced. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Well, but what ends up happening if you don't deal with any of it, you end up having what we call a nervous breakdown. I mean, that's what happens. That's just the body going, okay.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't. As we say, I can't deal.
Well, it wasn't supposed to happen this week. I'm just saying.
Well,
very inconvenient.
That's the funny thing about
it was very inconvenient.
I know. And that's the crazy thing about emotions, is it's like we always want to be in control, and then they like just suddenly show up at the most inconvenient time. Yeah, it's crazy.
Hi, Andrew. I wanted to say hi to my friend Andrew. It was really nice. A couple of these people that I've met that I keep telling you about the live streaming stuff are popping on here. Thanks, Andrew. But yeah, I mean, you know what it comes down to? You just got to deal with your stuff. I would usually say the other word, but you just got to deal with your stuff.
Right.
You know,
I was talking with someone.
With your stuff, it'll eventually, you'll have to deal with it.
One thing I find interesting is if I told anyone that was listening that they had COVID, they would get proactive in their health, right? Because it's a tangible bug affecting a tangible body that can kill you, right?
Right.
But when it comes to our soul, which is a little bit less tangible, right? It's this mysterious space in us.
Right.
And I tell you that it's got a sickness, like it's not well, right? And people don't do anything about it. Yeah. And it's like, well, you wouldn't do that with your body.
Yeah. Well, some people do. I mean,
well, no, but I'm just saying a lot of people, what they'll just want to do is they just want to keep stuffing it in the closet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it all falls. And I'm like, that's because you haven't been dealing with this for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. In other words, you had all these little sicknesses along the way and you never dealt with it. You thought it all was going to go away.
It does not.
It doesn't go away, does it?
Right. Unless you get the key. What is it? When you're organizing, you have the keep pile, the giveaway pile, and then the throwaway pile. So if you were to organize your own stuff just the same way, but you're going to keep it and like deal with it and reorganize it. Right. I mean, that's really kind of what you could do, you know?
The good, so not to get hard on people, but the good news is think about us having this conversation, because I mean 40, 50 years ago in my parents' generation, they didn't even think about stuff like this. Everything got stuffed in the closet. In fact, the Brits have a saying, keep a stiff upper lip.
Oh yeah.
Right. And what that means is don't deal with it, stuff it in the closet, and be a man and move on.
Right. Don't ever talk about it.
Don't ever talk about it.
Don't ever talk about it.
So one of the things you find with older generations is they're all carrying secrets.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then it's our generation that has to deal with those secrets, because I mean, and that's compounded. Actually, that's another piece of my whole ring. We found, you know, who my father's father was. All that stuff.
Oh yes.
In the last
quite a week.
I've had a couple weeks of just craziness, you know, and it's kind of like I mean, a lot of change, you know, a lot of change has happened on top of some loss, you know, and then just triggers. So, I mean, we all go through it. And of course, you know, my being a life coach, you know, are you going to deal with that stuff still? Yes, you are.
We're broken healers, aren't we?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And if you're not authentic about that, I mean, yeah, my life coach that I had in California, that's what she says. She go, ask me if I got my stuff together.
I
Like,
tell
"Do
my
ya?"
clients, I go, the reason I do this is you should see all the scar tissue I got.
That's right.
I'm an expert in scar tissue.
Yeah.
So I go, I bear these lessons in my body.
Right. And that's why I do a niche of, I mean, I like dealing with women my age in a transition and that has a lot of wounds. I mean, that's my, audience of who I help. And it's because I can totally relate, right? And I can totally help, change a perspective and really, try to help them to get along, their way spiritually, emotionally, and physically, because I also address their diets and everything, because you have to do the three together. You can't just change one piece. You have to have that balance of the three. So if you're eating crappy and you're drinking a bunch of wine every night, how are you going to feel? I mean, your feelings, you're eating your feelings or you're drinking your feelings away and you're not dealing with stuff psychologically. And that's going to affect your mind, which you're not going to be as sharp. So, I mean, it all goes together. And then if you're not addressing your spiritual needs during all of that, I mean, you're just going to be a mess.
Right.
A total mess. Because you're not.
Humans are complicated, aren't we?
Oh, we are.
And I always laughed when, I don't know, does Facebook still have that relational status complicated? Remember?
Yeah, it does.
Right? They do. Yeah.
I don't know.
Complicated. I was like laughing when that came out. I was like, what do you mean? Every relationship is complicated. Like,
that's right.
You just have 8, you know what I mean? It's like, if we were all honest, we'd all have complicated on our thing.
Right. It's so right. I mean, I haven't touched that relationship status in a long time.
So you're complicated?
Mine says, I don't think it says anything. I think mine says nothing.
It's in the closet.
It's a nothing relationship status, which is fine. I mean, one time I did it as a joke and changed it to something. And that, I mean, you'd have thought, I mean, I started Facebook is a funny place. The other day I got on it.
Well, Facebook is a funny place because people are funny.
Well, it's fake book. Somewhat, depending on
maybe a whole lot. I think you're being generous there.
I mean, it gives you the place to project what you want to be projected, or sometimes not even what you.
I always laugh because Facebook came out with avatars, right?
Yeah.
You see where my little brain goes? What do you mean? We've been avatars since we got on here.
Larry's leaving us already.
Just added a cartoon.
Larry's leaving us. I think we're on Chiefs time now.
All right, it's 7:00. Let's go.
Oh my gosh, go Chiefs! Are y'all still on here? Go Chiefs! Go Chiefs! Even if you're not a Chiefs fan, I don't think I know anybody that's an Oiler. It's the Houston Oilers still, right?
Texans.
I'm just kidding. I was kidding. I already knew this.
Okay.
I mean, if I knew the Houston Oilers, don't you think I knew the Texans? I mean, really?
All I'm saying is if you know the Houston Oilers, you're dating yourself.
Yeah. How long has it been since they were the
And Pastorini and Earl Campbell and oh my gosh, you're talking like.
So if y'all are looking for the Chiefs Oilers game, yeah, you're not going to find it.
You're like in the AFC now. Wow.
Well, thanks for talking me through my closet. Now I'm going to have to go organize it and stop having my shoes hit me in the head.
Well, I love your authenticity. That's very appealing to me.
It's been a rough week. So pray for me. I'll pray for you. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. And I'll be praying for you and your wife. So
thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, have a good day.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Go Chiefs. Go Chiefs.